So this S2000 is a 2008 model. It's here for coilover suspension only. Now when we typically do suspension, we don't drop the car more than about 20 millimeters. We do that for a few reasons. One, it doesn't affect the geometry too much, if at all, but that slightly more aggressive look and lower center of gravity definitely helps the handling characteristics without taking away from it and making it difficult to get in and out of driveways. Sometimes 15 to 20 millimeters is way more noticeable than it sounds. So let's get a quick before here, and then once it's installed, we can get another shot right here. Alright guys, quick demonstration here. I want to describe what is happening with your axle on a lowered car. This is your factory suspension, this is your differential side, this is your wheel side. You want around 2 to 3 degrees offset on the axle geometry right here. The reason you have this set 2 to 3 degrees is so as this spins and this spins, this essentially is moving back and forth like this, spreading the load around that inner cup. When you lower a car, the axle tends to be perfectly straight. This shaft is exactly in line with this cup, and this universal joint tends to stay in that exact same position. What that does is it essentially pushes the grease each side of that area and wears a little groove in here. That's where some of your axle shudder comes from light acceleration. You feel like kind of where the car kind of does this. That is often the groove in this inner cup. Between 2 and 3 degrees offset on this, which is, if you look at your car factory, it looks like this. Front wheel drives, rear wheel drive axles, they have this. Let me show you a quick demonstration what that looks like. So I'm using this universal joint just to give you kind of an example of what that looks like. When your axle is perfectly straight, nothing is moving, it's sitting there in the same position as it twists. As you put that 2 to 3 degrees right here, it is constantly moving and it doesn't sit in the same spot. So as it turns, it's doing this every single revolution, so it's not concentrating that wear spot in the same area and forcing that grease away. As you see, as it spins, it's constantly moving. You see that? So we're using the Skunk 2 Pro C coilover suspension. We've had really good luck with this. I'll be honest, I've never really been a fan of the lower end line the Skunk 2 offer. I know they offer some entry-level stuff, which again, a lot of it is to keep on price point, but this we've had good luck with. We've had several customers now put this on the street, put it on the track and test it, and we've had some good feedback. And we've had to bring cars in for maintenance, and we always kind of look at this stuff, make sure everything is holding up, make sure the rubber, you know, the boots are all holding up, and the neoprene pieces, that kind of thing, make sure there's no leaking. You know, we can pull this boot down, make sure there is nothing leaking out of the seals, which is something you got to look for. You're going to pull the seal up this way, and there is a seal in there that you want to check. Periodically make sure that the fluid isn't escaping through that seal. This is the dust boot, by the way, not the seal. But this stuff, very adjustable. You can change obviously the 2 separate settings here between the spring tension and then the height itself and then the rebound. Very, very good setup. Alright, so this is the preliminary numbers that we set the coilovers up, put on the ground, bounce it a couple of times, then do a measure, see how close we are. So as you see, we're not too far off. We're within 1/4 to 1/2 an inch, depending on which way you look at it. But that's why you always start off with a close setting and then put it on the actual car and measure it down to a flat slab before you go anywhere. Alright, so that is our drop right there, 20 millimeters it definitely has a more aggressive look. It's noticeable, the handling isn't affected, but it does lower the center of gravity, and it's not going to be something that's difficult to align. The lower you go, the more you change everything, and then you're going to have to start using compensation kits, you know, like extended camber plates, camber arms, that kind of thing. Not a big fan of that. I do like to keep with the Honda designed suspension. All we're trying to do is enhance the look and of course improve the handling without too much compromise. So that's our reasoning for our 20mm drop. So another tip, let the car settle. Once you've installed the suspension, you've got the height exactly where you want it. Drive it for a few days, maybe a week. Make sure the springs are settled exactly where they're gonna stay. If it has rubber or neoprene, mounting points, cushion points, let everything kind of settle. Sometimes the car will go down an eighth. Sometimes we've seen them go a quarter of an inch. Once you get it exactly perfect, then align it. That way you're not paying for an alignment and then doing it again a week later. So check this out. I don't know if you guys remember a past episode. Is a Toyota Sequoia doing Bilstein shocks. And you got to get a license plate that says my other car is a Porsche. That's it. What do you think? Did it move any? We have a certain customer that backed out less distance than that and noticed an immediate improvement in changing the suspension. No sidestep. Let's get a better perspective right here. No sidestep or sidestep? What do you guys think? With this, we did springs on this. This is Paul's ride right here. This is his daily. Look how much this is transformed. We did the springs on this. Kind of did that leveling, but he's changed the wheels and tires. This thing is cool. Did that, and then the TRD decal right there that picks up the red in the emblem and the wheel. That is awesome. What a transformation this has become. Oh yeah, the side steps. Everybody wanted those side steps gone. I should have noticed that the first thing, but I noticed the sticker and the wheels. That is awesome. You gotta black that out. Didn't you just, is that what you just talked about doing?
Yeah, that's next. Black emblems.
Yeah, because now you got the black here, the black there.
Gotta match.
Absolutely. It's color coordinating. I like it. That has really come a long way. Now you know what you gotta do is go get stuck in the mud.
Yeah. Throw some dirt on the side of it.
Yeah. Yeah, get some glue on dirt, some vinyl dirt, so when you're done, you can peel it off. This thing is cool. You did brakes too?
Yeah, brakes all around.
Look at that. Anybody hear that in the background? Anybody ideas what that is? You paint the calipers too?
Yeah,
oh, you just clean them? Calipers. Are they painted or just new calipers?
New calipers.
Wow, this thing's nice. That's all you need is another habit. Now you got two cars you're trying to modify at the same time.
I need a trailer on the back for the race car.
Absolutely. Do you have a hitch on it?
Yeah.
You would know somebody that has a trailer, right? You don't need a trailer. We know someone that has a trailer. So just a quick reminder, we are going to the Tail of the Dragon November 1st. So we talked about possibly having like a meet and greet. George, myself, you've seen some of the other people on the channel in the past. Mike with the Camaro, Steve, you've seen him. Two other friends are going to go too. Jeff, he's been on the channel. He has a Porsche, he has the black EP3. He has a lot of cars. He's going to be there. And another friend of ours, Chet, that has the Turbo MR2. There's going to be a lot of us there. So if you want to meet us, you want to come say hi, I will put a few t-shirts in the trunk just to kind of say, hey, if you want to meet us, I'll give you a t-shirt, you know, kind of bribe you to drive, you know, 10 hours to meet 4 idiots in the middle of nowhere. But if you do show up, we'll give you a shirt. We're thinking of Wednesday or Thursday, the Fontana Dam. Is that where we're going to go? That's tentatively where we're thinking. We'll give you like times as it gets closer, but we're thinking Wednesday or Thursday at the Fontana Dam. So check that out, look at it, Google it. It's a nice place. It'd be a good place to kind of hang out and just take pictures. We don't want to show up at a mom and pop restaurant and fill it full of cars and sit and talk, you know, and jam up the parking lot. We don't really see the point in doing that, but a nice meeting point with a backdrop. George is going to be there with a professional photographer following him around. won't be a professional, but it will be photography. Probably me holding a GoPro or this camera right here. So check that out. See you soon. Let's go on to the next clip. Now, if you watch any of our other channel, you'll see that we're always drumming into you to change your fluids, flush your fluids, change your oil. Don't listen to the guy that tries to go 10,000 miles on an oil change. He's not going to help you rebuild your motor. So we're pushing this. Now, look how cool that is. It's almost like two different fluids right here. It's completely separated. So that's clutch fluid right there. Another reason we're telling you, flush your clutch, flush your brakes. If you're not going to do it by us, learn how to do it. One day we'll do a how-to video if I get the muster and don't get too busy. In the meantime, we'll show you how to do it, but brake flush is very important. Clutch flush. Now look at that. We've got a brand new master and brand new slave, so we're pushing all the old gunge out here. So if you watch some of our past videos, you'll see where we were looking for an S2000, and then we made a video of where we actually went to see this car and bought it, and we had Esther drive it home. She had a blast driving it, by the way. You will see Esther more on the channel. We're going to have her drive this, and she wants to drive the Z06, the Carbon Edition. She wants to drive that. So let me give you a quick backstory. The reasoning of buying this car, one main reason is I want to show you and share some of our tips and tricks about taking an absolute perfect S2000 and modifying it without compromise. Now, compromise, everything you do to enhance something, you lose something. Everything, whether you do tires, whether you do suspension, whether you do exhaust, you gain power, you lose the quietness. You gain handling, you lose the smooth ride. There is always a compromise. So by trying to build a car so it has little side effects, that's why we bought a real nice car. I want to prove to you that you can get a really mint S2000, do enhancements, modifications without taking away. We're trying to make everything a win-win. We don't want to add something and lose something. So it's going to be a small amount of parts we do, small amount of modifications, but if you've driven this car, you know they're slow. I love cars, I love this S2000, but after driving so many modified S2000s, this is like the world is in slow motion. So personally, I don't think these cars need 500, 600, 700 horsepower. It's amazing. We've done it. We've built cars. We've helped customers build cars. I personally think 350 to 400 with no compromise is absolutely perfect for this car. No compromise meaning we don't want to have a ton of turbo lag. We don't want the power to fall off at 6 grand. We don't want a ton of noise. We don't want a ton of vibration. We don't want everything getting so hot it cooks the paint, or the air conditioning doesn't work, or the car overheats. We don't want any compromise, and I'm going to show you how to build a car, and if it's something you choose for us to build for you, I want to do some driving perspectives. I'm going to take it on trips. We're going to take it to shows. We're going to show you it. And more importantly, if you are an S2000 owner and you are interested in LHT building you a package, fly in when this car is done. You can drive this car. We're going to prove to you we can build your car with no compromise. If you're shopping for S2000s, if you're a V8 guy, if you're a truck guy and you're thinking of buying an S2000, you want to drive this, it's not happening. We're not selling you an S2000. We're selling you a package. So real quick, some of the plans for the car. I'm going to show you all the fluids that you should change and the fluids that we use, the fluids we recommend. You'll know by watching the channel. I don't stretch my service intervals changing the oil at 8,000 miles just because some guy that sells oil or some guy that's trying to persuade you to use his brand tells you so. It's false economy. Oil isn't that expensive. If it was $500 a quart, I could see trying to stretch your oil. It's cheap. Change your oil. There is so many benefits to it. Also, I'm 6'2". These cars are small. I'm going to show you lowering the seat. We just got in touch with Evasive Motorsports. We have a lowering rail coming from those guys. We're going to show you, do an episode on the rail, the before and after, how you install it. Talk to Evasive. They're going to have all of these parts we're talking about for lowering the car. Suspension. We're going to lower the suspension about 20 millimeters, just like you saw in the beginning of the video. We don't want compromise. We don't want axle wear. We don't want the car scraping the ground. We don't want it where it rides like a pogo stick. We want adjustability. We don't want any compromise. The car needs more power. Everything I drive is 400 horsepower and up on a daily basis. This feels like the world is in slow motion. Waiting for it to get to 8,000 RPMs is sometimes like waiting for your lunch. It's like, come on, is it on its way? We're sitting here, we've been waiting. It's fun on a road course, I know that. It's fun on the twisty back roads once you sit and peg it at our high RPMs. But on a daily basis, a Camry is going to leave you from the light. Trust me, everything out there is making more power than you, and it's such a modern design, it needs power. That's what we're going to address. We're going to address low down power, immediate power for the enjoyment. Also the clutch, you're going to need a bigger clutch to handle the power. We've always chose Clutch Masters because it's got the softest pedal pressure, little compromise. Of course, more pressure on a clutch is more pressure on your hydraulic system, more pressure on the crank walk, all those kind of things. That's why we use the Clutch Masters clutch. Exhaust, of course, we want a little bit more sound, but we don't want it annoying. I want to reduce the weight of the exhaust. The factory exhaust is unbelievably heavy. We pull these things off all the time, and when you pick that thing up, it blows your mind how heavy that is, that it's hanging on the car. We're going to probably drop 25 to 30 pounds by going with Taycan titanium. We'll build a custom exhaust, and again, no compromise. We want sound, we don't want annoying. We're going to be running a catalytic converter, all the emissions we want to have in place. We want the car to be OEM plus. Somebody described that, and I think it's a good name for what we try and do. Power without compromise. Again, it might be a silly slogan, but that's what I'm looking for. I don't want to gain something and lose something. I've been working on these cars since 1996. I don't have the patience for junk. If it drives like junk, if it sounds like junk, I don't have the patience for it. I'm not 18 anymore. The customers that we're dealing with, it's the same customer, the same mindset. If you're 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, if you enjoy this car for what it is, you don't want to have it run a little bit faster and it be annoying. If it shimmies, if it shakes, if it stinks, if it burns the paint on the hood from the turbo, you're not going to deal with it. Hence why I bought a perfect example S2000 to show you the things that we're going to do are not going to compromise the car.